Lethal Company is a game with a lot of variety, and part of that variety comes from the moons that you can explore. At the moment, there are 11 playable moons in Lethal Company, and out of these 11, 6 of them are completely free to go to. These moons are Experimentation, Assurance, Vow, Offense, March, and Adamance. Adamance is Lethal Company's newest free moon, and it's the only free moon released with version 50. Now, at first when it came out, I was all over it. But now that some time has passed, I see some things that may have kind of slipped through the cracks to make me think otherwise. From problems that I have with the bridge, to the enemies outside, and a lot more, there are many reasons why I consider Adamance to be one of the most overhyped moons in the entire game, even though it may be a bit of an unpopular opinion. If you enjoy this video in any way, please like, comment, and subscribe. We are closing in on 400 subscribers, and if you would like to join the journey, please feel free to. Anyway, one of the first things I'd like to talk about is the weather on Adamance. This is quite impactful on this planet due to the nature of how the journey from the ship to the entrances work, specifically with the flooded modifier. But also, there are a couple other weather modifiers that I think are worth noting. To begin, the flooded modifier makes this moon almost impossible to accomplish anything. The only reliable way to get to the main entrance at first would be to take the bridge, and even that won't last for you to be able to get back or in multiplayer. Now, the fire exit is technically open, but the fire exit does have this terrible jump where you can't make it back if you weigh too much. It has very few uses maximum, it's not based on weight either, so if you're playing with teammates, good luck. Someone's falling. There are 2 saving graces for this modifier though, and one of those is the Tulip Snake. The Tulip Snake was absolutely necessary for Adamance in so many different scenarios, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was added for the sole purpose of making Adamance viable in non-ideal scenarios. The ability to just fly across the valley, and pray you don't get dropped of course, is very nice and much needed. The other one would actually be the unique nature of the way that Adamance works when it's flooded, and that is how the water falls as time passes. And while this may work for when you want to stay later, if you want to leave early, you can't. The water is still up. And it also doesn't solve the issue of the bridge falling in multiplayer. The Eclipse modifier is basically an instant skip no matter where you go. If you go down into the valley, if you get surrounded by one too many baboon hawks, that's an instant death. If you don't call attention to yourself, the baboon hawks will call attention to you, making all eyeless dogs go directly to you. Now, an option would be to go to the fire exit, but it's still a very risky option on this planet, and again, if you're in multiplayer, it's not even an option. While many of these issues are just issues that I have with the weather modifiers on this planet, many of the issues still do impact the normal game without weather in some way, though we'll get into that later. While Stormy isn't the worst modifier on this planet, it is definitely an annoying one. Since the route from the ship to the main entrance is so long, any metal that you need to take back will take ages, and by dropping items on the ground like that, it's almost like you're asking to be swarmed by baboon hawks. Anyway, the other 2 modifiers, Rainy and Foggy, aren't huge issues here, and they don't change much of the gameplay at all. The next thing about Adamance that I'd like to talk about is the risk-reward factor, and why it's kind of my main reason for disliking Adamance in the first place. See, if you watched my video on the Golden Man challenge, you can see that I suck at this game. So even though this moon does have the most scrap out of any free moon, it was one of the lowest earners of the entire run. So it's clear that a difficult moon like this is not my cup of tea at all. Everything from the distance between the entrance and the exit, the incredibly high monster spawns, and very difficult layout of the map makes this map not very beginner friendly and not very casual friendly, which means that it's not friendly towards me at all. Although, if you do have a lot of experience, I can understand why someone might enjoy this hellhole. The next point I'd like to make is the monster spawns. The monster spawns on Adamance make me quite angry and they feel very unbalanced. You see, this is a free planet, and this planet spawns more monsters than Rend can, and Rend has a lot more loot, and it's a mansion map, which is better anyway. So, when I want to go back to my ship, I do not want the only possible path back to be blocked by an angry swarm of 5 baboon hawks. If you get unlucky at the start and have a nest blocking your way, then you might just want to consider yourself screwed and restart the day. You won't have any time to get in and get loot before those hawks spawn and stop at nothing to kill you and take all of your stuff. Thankfully, If you're lucky, you can have an old bird spawn on this planet to just kill the stuff for you. Isn't that great? An old bird on an intermediate moon. Just hope it doesn't get to you first. I'd much rather go on an open map that lets you choose how to get back to your ship, like Vow or March, and problem solved. Rather than being screwed like 80% of the time on Adamance, it'll only be like 20%. The inside enemies are also quite annoying too, and for this one reason only. The Thumper has an absurdly high chance to spawn on this planet. 21% of all monsters that spawn on this planet will be Thumpers. That is over a fifth. Without the proper gear, a Thumper means instant death, and with the proper gear, the bridge collapses. There seems to be no winning in this scenario at all. And of course, the last thing I'd like to talk about would be the main bridge. The bridge that spans across the entire valley. While one man is able to cross it without falling perfectly fine, by simply adding multiplayer to the mix, the ability for everyone to cross is completely taken away. And if you add more weight to the situation, then the bridge isn't even usable in single player. For a person that is carrying just a mere 25 pounds, the bridge will crumble in 7 seconds. That is nowhere near enough time to get across. So if it falls with you on it, you better pray there isn't an eyeless dog below it, because that may just be a guaranteed death. Completely out of your control. Now, I don't want this video to be all bad, to make it seem like Adamance is the worst thing ever. Because it's not. The scrap potential is incredibly high for a free planet, and some skilled player, or a player with a jetpack, would be able to make the most of it for what it is. If you would just avoid the planet when it had bad weather, then even someone not that good can make a decent profit if they try. There usually are not too many traps on the inside, and the hint to unlocking artifice inside the cabin is super cool. The bridge can be helpful for going into the facility, even if going out of it, it does almost nothing. And the planet looks absolutely beautiful for this game. Is it perfect? Not even close. Is it my least favorite free moon, and probably my least favorite overall moon? Absolutely. Does that make it bad? Definitely not. I love this game and all of the effort that the developer puts into it. And even though Adamance may be my least favorite moon, it's still a great experience, and it's incredible to see what one person can create if they really put their mind to it. If you watched this video all the way through, I just want to say thank you so much and ask that you like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you liked or disliked about the video. Again, we are so close to 400 subscribers, and every single one of you matters to me. Thanks for watching. Bye!